Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Dan. So today, another martial arts film, a blast from the past. Because I actually like reviewing old movies. I've been doing that for quite some time anyway. So here we are, more martial art type stuff, because mine as well. So anyway, I thought I would just talk about the sequel to a movie I just got to reviewing, so here we are. And it's titled Return of the Street Fighter, which yes was released during the 1970s, but it was also retitled as Blood of the Dragon. Yeah, that's not confusing. People would be just thinking it's a completely different movie. Ugh. But yes, this is something that almost became a common recurrence with these foreign movies for whatever reason. And just, I don't get it. I don't get why that's a thing, but here we are, I guess. Anyway, of course, as always, let's talk about the plot, shall we? So here we go. This time around, let's just say things do become rather complicated, just like what happens in the first one. So, okay, the old main character, this martial arts master, he gets mixed up in the plot by the American mafia to take over the karate dojos in Asia, aided by a corrupted individual, dojo master, so to speak. So, yes, in this one, our main character is hired by the Yakuza to silence a witness, so to speak, because he might be talking too much, really, so to speak. But anyway, but the mob decided that maybe our main character, he knows too much. So instead of paying him, so to speak, they're trying to kill him, or at least die trying, so to speak. And yes, that's how this film goes when it comes to story, obviously. So yes, our main character just returned to take on this, I guess, mafia type thing. Of course, when it comes to yes, this whole bit where it comes to embezzling money from charities to finance the circuit operations. So a criminal underground kind of business kind of a thing going on here, folks. So a crime drama with kung fu. So that's kind of a weird thing to say right there, but can't blame the movie for trying to mix it up a little bit to, I guess, change the formula when it comes to these types of movies, I reckon. But okay, there was that. And yes, obviously, this is definitely a pretty violent one. So, just like the first one was, of course. And by the way, I'm reviewing the American edited version, just so you know. I mean, there's been more than one version was out there. There's one that's 88 minutes, and then there's another one that's 76 minutes, but the version that I have ran for 82 minutes. So I just thought I'll let you know, folks, about that. So, yes, that's a thing for whatever reason, but okay, sure, that happened. So, and then I don't know why that has to be a thing, but sure. And then there's another one that's 90 minutes in length, of course. So, okay. While, yeah, the thing is that when Return of a Street Fighter was first released theatrically in the United States, in order to gain a wider audience than the previous film, the film was edited down to 75 minutes for an R rating because the original version of this film was viewed as too violent, too gory. So the version I'm looking at was not the same version as was released in the United States, theatrically speaking. So the version I'm reviewing is a different, completely different version that was released onto DVD. Just so you know. Ultimately, this is the version I'm referring to, and this set here. It was released in 2004, so yeah, a little while ago. But yes, it's still the edited down version. Just so you know, it's not the complete version at all. It's still pretty violent though. Either way, it's still pretty violent. And this version was released by this company. And yes, I mentioned this in my previous video when I talked about the first installment. And the company's name reminds me of this character because her name sounds dangerously similar. So there's that. And I'm just saying. But anyway, back to the whole return of Street Fighter kind of a thing. Anyway, but yeah, I did think that this was definitely a solid entry, of course. Yes, this gonna be pretty violent and pretty gruesome, which is fine. I guess. But it does have its own charm to it. Yes, it's violent. It's still gruesome, really. But this is definitely a movie where the main character has to be brutal, of course, while using his martial arts skills. And yes, he's supposed to be a tough type of character. He's definitely his own kind of thing, I guess you can say, his own way of justice, so to speak. I mean, yes, okay, there's a whole argument. The fighting isn't too bad. I like the way the fighting is well choreographed here because you have to capture the overall feel of the fight, and they definitely do a well enough job when it comes to the fighting. It's very choreographed. It doesn't come off amateurish, yes, despite the fact that it does have a lower budget and compared to the more Hollywood kind of thing, I guess you can say. I mean, this does have a bigger budget than compared to some of the other kung fu movies I reviewed. And that's something, I guess, sure, but you can still tell there's a drastic difference compared to this action movie to, let's say, like a Transformers film or whatnot. Just throwing it out there. Or even a Matrix type movie, to be more exact, I guess. But anyway, the martial arts fighting here is nicely done as a whole because you can tell they can try and capture the craziness in this as they should, and they do a really good job of that. I like how the fight is pretty fierce when you think about it because it should be. And like I was saying, it is supposed to be like a really mature type of a movie because of that, clearly, and that's what they were aiming for. Okay, that aside, of course, I have to bring up the English dubbing. The English dubbing does need some work, but it's okay, I guess. The English dubbing is solid enough that it won't bother you too much, I reckon. But I'm saying that because, but here's the thing, though. I've seen I've seen quite a few foreign films where the dub is outright horrible, and thankfully, this one is one of the better dubbed foreign films I've watched. And just so you know, in other words, the dubbing is it may not be fantastic by any means, but the dubbing does get its job done. So it's serviceable on a good day, I guess. If that doesn't bother you too much, I would say definitely give this movie a chance. Obviously, I want to let you get the uncut version quite clearly, just so you know. That aside, the story itself is fine. The story is serviceable, I guess you can say. It's pretty wild in that sense. The story is used as a way to set up the grand scheme of things, what they're trying to do, this grand adventure. They're trying to make this, when I say the people who made this, of course, are trying to make this movie as crazy as they could, quite clearly, as you might expect when it comes to these types of movies. And they should. They definitely should make it pretty wild when you think about it. I didn't mind it, really. They should make it like this. There's a bit of drama, some crime stuff and whatnot. So there was that. When it comes to the story, I guess crime, drama, kung fu type movie. That's a weird way of putting this. Sure, whatever. But anyway, nevertheless, I would definitely say that this was worth the watch, at least as far as I'm concerned, anyway. I liked it. Anywho, I would just give this film, well, this version of the film anyway, an overall rating of a 7.0. I think it's a 7.0 10 for me. So as always, thanks for watching and take care. See you.